stables because yesterday our farm got about 3 inches in a matter of 5 or 6 hours. So our land is a little bit too mucky and slippery to be riding on. So Breezy Hill Stables let us come here and use their arena once again. So RJ and I are going to be showing you guys how to teach your horse to pick you up at the mounting block. And to do that, it all starts along a wall. So we're going to turn around, we're going to start at one end of the wall, and we'll show you here. We're going to get lined up along the length of the wall, and then you're going to stand directly in front of your horse. You can have a bridle, you can have a halter, it doesn't matter. You cannot let your horse walk in front of you. So you need to have good control of that before you start this exercise. You need to have good control of being able to push your horse back because their instinct might be to walk through you and walk in front of you. So to start off teaching your horse to bring and to step his haunches in, you're going to stand facing your horse right in front of him, and you're going to have your hand right here, and you're not going to pull back, you're not going to do anything unless he's trying to rush you. And if your horse is trying to rush you, then you are going to pull back on that halter or on that rein. So you're going to stand right in front, and this is the only exercise that I can think of at the moment that I teach my horse to come into the pressure. Usually when we are working with horses, we want them to go away from the pressure. That's our whole thing, is make them move away from the pressure. This exercise, we ask them to come into the pressure. The good thing about horses is they learn through the release of pressure. So when they step into you or even think about stepping into you, if you see their hip lean in, you take that pressure away. So with RJ, since he already knows it, it's going to be a little bit different than if I was teaching a horse that doesn't know it. But I'm going to start off and I'm going to use a dressage whip and point it at the hip and kiss. And then if he doesn't come in to the pressure, which he will, but your horse probably won't, so if they don't come into the pressure, you can start very, very lightly tapping. And then you increase the pressure the more they don't do what you're asking. And do it patiently because, again, horses like to go away from the pressure because that's what we always teach them. So do it a little bit patiently, not aggressively at all. But here, we'll just get started, and I'm going to ask RJ to bring his hip to the inside. So I'm going to pick up the whip, and as soon as he starts to bring his hip to the inside, I'm going to release the pressure. Now, like I said, RJ already knows this, so it's different than if I were teaching a horse that doesn't know. But they might get confused and they might walk into the wall and stuff, and that's fine. Usually I just hold the whip out and I kiss until they do something. If they are just plain old not moving anything, then I'll slowly start to tap, 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 and then once they lean in, I release the pressure. So the difference in your body language, because you do want them to continue moving their hips away from you when you ask for it. So when you're asking for hips in, you need to stand directly in front of your horse. Because if there comes a time when you want your horse to move your hips away from you, you need to be able to look at that hip, and that hip moves away from you. So I can still tap at that hip and it move away, but if I'm standing in front of him, he needs to come into me. So it's really important where you are positioned in front of your horse. Once you are along the wall and he's coming into you and taking steps into you along the wall, if you feel comfortable, we'll start over here again. If you feel like you're getting pretty good with his hips coming into you along the wall, then you can start along the wall and ask him to step away from the wall. Again, standing right in front of him. And once you can do that and move away from the wall and there be nothing, being a boundary for your horse, then you can start on the mounting block. So that's the goal, is to start along the wall and gradually move your way off the wall. A lot of horses, when they're starting, they'll get a few feet off the wall and then they'll say, oh, my boundary is gone, I need to get back to it. So they'll go right back to the wall. If they do go right back to the wall, you just need to hold your whip up. You don't need to tap or kiss, or you don't need to tap, just hold your whip up and kiss until they understand you're standing in the same spot. You still expect them to move their hips away, even though you're not using a wall as a barrier. I hope that all makes sense. So once you have that to the point where you don't need a wall for the barrier to do the hips in, once you can come out here, see there, you're sneaking away from the pressure. Perfect. There, that was a great example. So he said, oh, I'm not against the wall, I need to get to the wall. But if I kept asking and asking and asking, he says, oh yeah, we're doing hips in. So that was a great example, thanks RJ, for when a horse might get stuck because they don't have that wall as a barrier. So once you have it like this, where you're not against the wall, and they'll still move into you, I want you to get your mounting block, and I don't want you to set them up for it. I want you to set them like this. Hold on, RJ. Bless his heart. I want you to set him up where he's turning and facing you. So that way you can really get the whole thing. You want him to understand that he is to come alongside of the mounting block, and then a little bit forward, go forward a little bit, there, and pick you up just like that. To the point where, look at, he's even over top of the mounting block. He understands that he needs to bring his hips towards me, and instead of being the person with the horse that I have to go up and set this down, oh, he moved his hips away, bring him up here, set this down, and step up, and your horse is the horse that moves their hips away from you. No, you want to be able to get up here, no matter where your horse is, and ask them to come and pick you up at the mounting block and stand there. This is his release. This is where there is zero pressure when he is standing like this at the mounting block. And so I don't want you, if he's set up right, just stay here for a little bit. That's his relaxing spot. So you want him to want to be here so that he will stand nice and still for you when it's time to get on your horse. I hope that helps. I don't really have a horse that doesn't know it. I guess Fancy doesn't know it yet, but she's a little too young for me to teach her that for now. I haven't worked with that on her yet, so maybe when I do teach her, I will video it so I can show a fresh horse. But that's the concept of teaching your horse hips in along the wall, or even half passing on the ground, or most importantly, how to pick you up at the mounting block. I hope you enjoy, and I hope that makes sense. Have a good ride.